Hi guys, how you guys doing? Daniel Benoit here. So you guys know I've done a couple of these little mini tidbit videos. Well, this one here, I know I talked about some tracks before. We're going to talk about tracks again very briefly. Um, just due to the time of year that we're in right now. One of the things you're going to see here very shortly, I've seen it around floating social media for quite some time now. It's not new, but it may be for some of you. This particular track right here, I've seen this on and off over the last few years. It's an odd track, especially to see in the snow. Now, a lot of people find it very odd because it appears that it has claws. Well, this is where I want to point something very simple and very logical so you could understand and consider this. Well, we're looking at it in this direction here. You see there's a foot next to this track right here. Well, let's take that track and flip it around. Now, most of you guys probably already know that, hey, most likely this is a rabbit track. Well, let's talk about rabbit tracks in the snow. How do rabbits, what do their tracks appear? What do they look like most of the time in the snow? Well, here are a few examples of bunny tracks, rabbit tracks in the snow. This is their pattern. This is what they look like a majority of the time. Well, if you guys recall, and for those who watched my previous videos on tracks in the snow, how sometimes when snow melts, it deteriorates, it spreads, it expands. Well, that's what happens with, regardless if they're foot tracks, humanoid tracks, which you'll see that here very shortly too. But let's quickly talk about these tracks right here. So let's flip that track around and let's look at it at a different perspective. Okay? The individual who took the picture only took it in one direction without looking at the other direction or looking at it at a different view. This person is most likely not familiar with rabbit tracks. There's a lot of other little small mammals, squirrels, sometimes even foxes. Sometimes their tracks, when their tracks and their steps are so close together, sometimes, not always the case, but sometimes they do look very close and similar. All right, so let's take a look at what the bunny looks like when they're hopping. So right now you guys see this little guy right here. He's just hopping along. And one thing you need to pay attention to is when he jumps, you're not probably seeing it too good in this picture here, but when they jump or hop, the 2 feet that are in the back are kicking out. All right, so when they kick out, there's that little scuff. Let's go back to this track. As you see in this track here, it appears that there's claws in here. These are not claws. These are from the jump or the hop of the rabbit. Okay, they did not look like this when they were fresh. The snow had melted and expanded. Now you got what looks like or appears to be claws, right? So that's something I wanted to point out to you. And while we're here, for those who didn't watch the previous video on tracks that melt away and expand, well, what do boot tracks look like when they expand? Well, some of this is a slight exaggeration, but some of them simply appear to look like humanoid foot tracks. Have you ever played around and stepped outside in your bare feet to walk in your yard or on the back deck or on your steps? Yeah, we know what humanoid foot tracks look like in the snow. I've done it before myself. Every foot track looks different. But that's besides the point. Let's look at the boot track. All right, we got a clear, solid boot track. Some small, some large. And I will tell you, I've been out in the woods in the snow and seen boot tracks that were 17, 18, even 19 inches long. Call me a liar. I don't care. But there are people with very large boots out there. Very large boots, very large feet. So when these boots melt away, these tracks, when they melt away, they expand. And due to the treads on the bottom of them, especially towards the front or the tip of the boot, when they melt and expand, what's it going to look like? They're going to look like toes. Kind of like this human foot track in the snow. So keep this in mind, people. This is just something to think about. I wanted to share this with you so you guys might have a better understanding, because there's a lot of people that don't know. And that's why I'm sharing this simple, basic knowledge. Yes, a lot of us already know all about this, but there's a lot of people that do not know and that are not aware of this. This is part of my research that I want to spread awareness. A lot of this is simple, basic knowledge that everybody should know and should be well aware of. You'll see more of these tidbit videos in the future. Meanwhile, keep it squatchy, my friends. Until next time, I'm Daniel Benoit, founder of the ECBRO. God bless.